Good afternoon, everyone. As promised, I'm coming on to decoupage and decorate the bunny. Well, in fact, I've got two bunnies. So I thought I would try to show you the decoupage technique on one, and the other one, well, in fact, I'll probably decoupage both, and then I'll decorate them in different ways. So I've got a selection of napkins here. So I've got this one, which is full of Easter eggs, very beautiful, like Fabergé eggs, really. I've got this one, which has got, you can see, it's got bunnies on it. And I've got this one, which is crocuses. So, and I've also got a few butterflies that I can use. And apart from that, I've got a selection of flower leaves, flowers, got some small daffodils, got some big yellow flowers, and some blue and white flowers. You can see these ones here. I've got this cute little ribbon which says Happy Easter with a bunny there, which I thought maybe could go around the neck of one of them. And I've got some felt foam shapes. I've got other stickers. So anyway, let's see how we get on. But first and foremost, I want to show you the decoupage technique. So let's put all these flowers and things out of the way for the moment. Now, I have stupidly put the stand in my bunny rabbit, but so it's going to be a bit difficult for me to decoupage. But anyway, I put it on the edge of my desk. That should be okay. I hope you can see. Now, I think the first one, I want to try and decoupage one of these crocuses in the middle here. So the first thing I'm going to do is to cut this. Let's get my scissors. I'm loving these shelves where I've got everything to hand. It's great. So just okay, so I'm just going to cut off one of these squares because I don't want to use the whole napkin. So, okay. Now, napkins come in several layers, and you only need the top layer to decoupage. So there's one layer, and there's another, there probably is another layer here as well. Yeah, so there are 3 layers here. So I'm just going to take off the top layer, and the bottom 2 layers I don't need. Okay. Now I could just stick it on like this with all of this surround, but it's probably more aesthetic to have a smaller image with not so much white around it. So to do that, you just, with a paintbrush and some water, you just go around the edge of the image that you want, fairly close to the image. I don't know whether this is showing. I hope it is. I'm trying a new angle on my new in my new setup craft room, and I'm trying not to use. I'm trying to use a stand rather than just my hand, which is what I usually use. Right, so I've been all the way around my napkin. I want to get rid of this corner because I don't want that in my decoupage. And you can see where it's wet, it just literally just falls apart. It just comes away. I think it's probably easier to leave the 3 layers together. So the next one I do, we'll try it that way round. But you just go around your image like this, pulling the paper away from the image, What you don't want is to tear your image, and when you've got ragged lines it blends in better with the paint that you've painted your object with. So just going around the last bit and pulling some of this away. There we are. So I've ended up with this, which is not nearly as delicate as what I started off with, but I think you will agree it will decoupage better onto this my rabbit. Now I'm going to use Mod Podge, and this one is Gloss Luster Water-Based Sealer Glue and Finish. Okay, there are other glues that you can use, but this is the one that I'm going to use. And just going to pause you a second because I need to get some. Okay, so I'm back. I just needed to get a piece of plastic in order to rub down the decoupage once I put it on the thing. So I'm just going to put a layer of glue where I want this image. So I'm just going to line it up on my thing, and I rather want this to be right in the middle. So I'm going to put glue all over this part of my bunny rabbit. Doesn't matter if the glue goes over the edge of where your design is going to be. And then you put your image down where you want it to be very carefully. And then with the plastic, and then you can go over it, because you can actually then rub it in. And you go from the middle to the outside, rubbing it. That way you don't get any creases or bumps or anything. And the cellophane doesn't stick to the image, whereas if you were to use your finger, well, it would stick. And also the if you use a brush, you can rip the image. So, and then you can just peel it off, and there we are. So that's my first bit done. I'm just taking away some loose things. So there's the first part of my image done, and I'm just going to make sure that all the edges are glued down, and you just do that by rubbing the glue brush over the top of the image. Okay, and then we're going to leave that to dry before we touch it up anymore. So that's my first that's the first part of my bunny rabbit. And oops, see, the legs have come off, so that's great. It will be easier to do. So I thought of using some butterflies on this side as well. I don't really want to do anything to the face, because here I want to put a ribbon and an eye and an eye. So I just thought I'd put a couple of butterflies on this side. I've got a selection here, different colours. Maybe that one. I got these butterflies were from a napkin that Caroline kindly gifted me, and at Christmas I used some of the napkins to make coasters, and these are what are left. I just want to see whether any of these flowers would look nice also around the bottom. I really like this blue with the purple. Let's see, I can put a leaf and a couple of flowers, or I just use the flowers. I think I just use the flowers. Maybe put one here and a couple here. Of course, I'm going to have to cut the bottoms off, and I've got my hot glue gun ready to decorate those. Anyway, but in the meantime, I'm going to stick some butterflies. So I'm going to do the same thing of just getting rid of some of this straight edge around the side of the butterfly. So just going around the edge with the water, and then I'll just tear it away. I hope you can see what I'm doing. So just tear it away from the image that you want. So you hold on to your image, which isn't wet, and you pull away the paper that is wet. And I just want to take a piece away from here as well. And when it's wet, it's so much easier to do than doing it if it's dry, because you know, it just automatically wants to come away and you don't have any problems. Okay, so that's the first one. So I think I'm going to put that maybe there. And then this one, I'm going to put so I hope you're all well and are managing to stay virus free. These are rather stressful times we're living in, aren't they? But I'm sure, you know, God knows what he's doing, and he will end this time of trial soon. And probably I was thinking, you know, he's wanting us to have a wake-up call, to, you know, to realize that we have to live our lives in a responsible way, and to do the things in the way that he would like, and etc. And you know, perhaps we've been a bit lenient, and perhaps we're, you know, forgetting about him. And very often when there are crises like this, you know, people turn back to God and they start to pray, and they realize, you know, that material things aren't so important, and you know, what's more important is the love of our family and things like that. So, you know, although we don't understand, you know, some good is going to come from this in whatever way. You know, we don't know which way it's going to be, but so anyway, sorry, I'm just gluing down these butterflies now. So I'm just doing the same as I did with the crocus. Just putting down this cellophane. If you're using ordinary paper to decoupage, or the special decoupage paper, it's not so delicate as tissue paper, and so you don't need to worry so much about using cellophane on top of your image. Oops. As you can see, I glued this image, and now of course it has stuck to the cellophane. I glued the outside. So yeah, so I was saying, if you're using ordinary paper, then the way to decoupage is to cut it into small bits, and you put one bit down, you put the glue down, you put one bit down, you glue on top of it, you put another small piece down, and you go around a different way. So that's the beginning of this side of the rabbit. I will do the other side exactly the same way, but I thought I'll move on to the other rabbit, and we can decoupage it with, I thought I could use those little rabbits and then add some bits and pieces in between. So I'm going to leave that to dry, and I'm going to bring in rabbit number 2. And this time I won't separate the napkin before I wet it, okay, so we can see the difference. So I'm going to use one of these sections, I want to do is I want to separate these 3 bunnies and stick them in such a way that they, you know, they fit on this bunny. So what I'll do first of all is I'll go around the outside of the first one. I think it might be quite nice to have some of this foliage at the bottom. So we'll have that. So I'm going to separate. So this time I'm using the 3 layers. Right? I haven't taken the 3rd layer, the 2 bottom layers away yet. This means that your image is a bit sturdier when you're using the water and this ripping technique. So that just makes life a little bit easier. But it's up to you which way round you do it. Okay, so there's my first bunny, and now I'm going to take away, there's 1 layer. Oh, this one looks as though it's only got 2 layers. Let's see. Usually they have 3, but on occasion there's only 2. Anyway, there's a bit more paper here to rip. So let's see. Of course, if we use just if we keep the layers, the top layer is going to come off when you stick it down. So we have to be careful about that. I'm just going to go in here and get rid of this bit here. This bit of green. Okay, so that's my first one done. I don't know how I'm going to put them yet. I want them to be on there so that they all fit as a group as they were. They didn't all fit. So now I'm going to go around the second one. And move this out of the way so you can see what I'm doing. And there we go. This is such a lovely thing to do, and it's so easy, so effective, and I just love doing it. And it's not that time consuming, really. I mean, it's quite quick. I've been doing this for 18 minutes so far. So, so there we are. So that's my second bunny. Yeah, I might overlap them a bit because this one was sort of like on the edge of the napkin, and then haven't taken its second layer off, as you probably noticed. So there we are. That's its bottom layers come off. Yeah, this napkin is only a 2-layer napkin. And so finally I'm going to do this one. And we'll see how that goes. So that's my third one done. And I'll just put all of this in the bin. So I'm thinking something like putting this one here and maybe this one on top and then this one here. Something like that. So I like that. The only thing I don't like is that this has got a straight edge. So I'm going to try and get rid of that straight edge just by pulling this a little bit so it's a bit more natural. That's better. So these three. So I can join them up together, but this time they're going to be in a different order. And that way they fill the whole thing. But I'm not liking this, I don't know if you can see, I'm not liking that this one is longer than the rest. So I'm going to remove some of this greenery here, just to make them a bit more equal. Okay, so I want this one, and then I want this one kind of nibbling behind him, and then this one on his own. So quite like that design. And so I'm just going to go over this again with, you know, what I did. So so I'm going to put the biggest one down first, this one. So again, just put the Mod Podge down, and then I'm just going to put my rabbit, and I'm going to use my finger. You could use your bone folder as well if you prefer to use that, just to apply some pressure. There isn't enough glue here in this corner, so I'll just put a bit more glue there. Okay. So you can see that this has got a very straight edge here. So I'm going to overlap my second bunny, which is this one, and to try and make it look natural. And there's actually some grass coming down here. If you can see some grass coming down here, and I can continue it down there with this rabbit. So so I'm going to put down some more Mod Podge. And let's see if I can get that right. So it's okay. Make sure there's enough glue everywhere. Okay, so and again, just going to go down with my cellophane bag. You can use cling film to do this. You can use a plastic bag. Use anything that the glue isn't going to stick to, or that the paper's not going to stick to, I should say. You can see that this needs a bit of glue. Let's be careful. Tap it down. Okay, so I'm happy with that so far. So that's two. And now the third one, I'm just going to, I would ideally like it here, but his ears go off the top. So I'm going to bring it down a bit so that his ears, and that he is, or she is in one place, is in the same place. Now the rabbit was actually was brown, the shape, and so I covered it with chalk paint at the time when I was doing my bookshelves, which I showed on my channel the other day. I used chalk paint, but I don't think it was the best chalk paint that I used, because this is actually coming off. I can see the wood through it. So you could use acrylic paint. You could use you can use whatever paint you want really to make it. So there is my You can't see. There's my, so far this is what I have done, and now my idea is to decorate around the bottom with some flowers probably, or I've got some, actually got some paper daffodils here. I don't know, they're a bit big, so I probably will use these flowers just along the edge, just to cover up this this here, and I think that will be done. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to pause for a while. I'm going to let all of this dry, and when it's dry, just see whether, you know, this one that I've done previously is dry now. So what you have to do to protect it is that you need to put another coat of the Mod Podge on top, so that it acts as a protector and a varnish, because it is only paper that you've put down, obviously. So you just put a layer of Mod Podge all over, and you just let it dry. And you can get different types of Mod Podge. You can get shiny ones, you can get matte ones. I actually won this little bottle in a giveaway, and so I am actually using up my stash, because these were gifted to me, all the napkins were gifted to me, and most of the flowers that I'm going to be using were also gifted to me. So so this is another of my using up my stash no spend videos, but at the same time I'm doing it along with you. So there we are. So I'm going to let this dry, and then I'll come back and do the other side exactly the same, because what I want, these rabbits will be on our dining table, so I want people on either side to be able to see the decoration. So that is what I'm going to do, and then I'll stick the flowers on, and I'll come back and show you the finished result. So I'll see you all shortly. Bye. So I finished off the rabbits. So this is one. So I just kept this one very simple and just added some coloured butterflies and a gold bow. So that's one side, and this is the other side. That's that one. And then the one with the rabbits, so this is one side. So I wasn't very happy with this dark green background on the napkin, and that is something perhaps that I've learnt, is that the background that you're putting the decoupage on has to blend with the background colour of your napkin. So you can see this one, you can't see that it's this napkin, you know, all you see is the coloured part, whereas this one you see the green all the way around. So and it was too late because I'd already stuck it on to try and make it less green. So what I did eventually was to use some markers and just very lightly colour the whole bunny green, and some pink here in the ears. I've added a googly eye, I've added a ribbon and some flowers, and just a couple of stick-on three-dimensional butterflies on this side. And then this side I actually kept the napkin whole when I decoupaged it on, didn't cut it up like I did the other one. Put some more flowers around the bottom, a couple of butterflies, and this side he's got a gold bow here. So I think they've come out quite well for my first experience of doing this. Let's see if we can put a bit of background behind so you can see. That's the top and the bottom. So let me know what you think in the comment section. Thank you for watching, everybody, and take care, and I'll be back shortly. Lots of love for now. Bye bye.